Hey everyone, welcome back to the video. Today, I'm going to be doing my VCT EMEA Week 5 power rankings and pick'ems. This week in EMEA was pretty interesting. You had some, like, decent games in there, some surprising results. But overall, I think the level of play was actually pretty decent this week. I was very, very happy. I mean, maybe not very happy, but I was pleased watching some of these games this week for EMEA, which I can't really say for all regions. So, yeah, that was nice. But if you guys enjoy, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. It really helps me out. Also, go check out my Twitter and my Discord. Links are in the description. I do weekly player rankings on there for all three regions: EMEA, Pacific, and Americas. Both my EMEA and Pacific ones are up right now, so you can go check those out if you're interested in that. I'm also doing polls on the community tab on this YouTube channel, on my Discord, and on my Twitter of what team I should be rebuilding in my rebuild series at the end of the year. I do a series where I go through every team and I make the roster changes that I would make. I put my poll up for Pacific. I'm going to do my EMEA one after this week, and Americas after this week. For Pacific, my options were Secret, Global, or Zeta, and then just or another team after playoffs. So you can go check that out on all of those spots, and you can even vote on all three of them, and it'll help get the team that you want in there. I would ideally not want to do global, mainly because I don't even know if I'm going to make more than 2 changes. So a video where I'm only making one roster change to global's roster seems a little not great. But if you really want to see it, then I might do it. That might be the one where if it wins, then I won't do it. But we'll have to wait and see. I might test out how it goes for just one roster change in one of these like pre-champs ones. But yeah, go check those out. I'll be doing a poll for EMEA, Pacific, and Americas as I do every year. So go do that. Go vote for the team that you want to see be rebuilt. But without further ado, let's get right into it. So at our bottom 2 spots, I still have Koi and Apex. They are kind of moving up into this like okay teams tier where like I think they're on the same level as some of these other teams. I genuinely didn't watch this game between these two teams. I don't really have an opinion on either of them other than the fact that Apex is getting relegated and Koi is not in the best spot. I'll probably go back and watch some of Koi's games before I do their rebuild video and whatnot. But for right now, I'm going to save myself the time and I'm just not going to bother watching Koi versus Apex. Then I have Gentlemates. Same deal this week. They looked good early against Giants. They beat them on Corrode, and then they won up 9-3 on Ascent. Now, to be fair, they had to play on the attack side of Ascent in the second half of that game, so that's not that bad. But also, you're up 9-3. You should be winning more rounds than that. And then Haven, they kind of just got rolled. They're going to get relegated. They keep choking. I think everybody kind of knows the book on this Gentlemates team at this point. I do think they have some good players, though, for like potentially players that could make it into next year. I think Vaycash, Comeback, Kamek, and Mini are all really good. And I think Prosh could also have a spot in tier 1. So, I mean, honestly, I think some of these inactive players also probably are not in the worst spot in terms of having next year spots. Like Zipon and Kata, if they wanted to play next year, absolutely could, in my opinion. Maybe not Zipon, but he might be able to sneak his way onto a team somewhere. And then our last team here in this okay teams tier is Carmine Core. Honestly, like, I didn't think they were terrible this week against NaVi, but they did lose 2-0. Their Sunset is interesting. I really don't like this comp that they're running here. I don't really like their Corrode comp either, even though some other teams are playing it. I just think this team's read on the meta all year has been pretty bad. They can still make playoffs. I mean, I think they might even be locked in. Yeah, they're locked into playoffs, barring. I mean, no, I think they could lose out. Yeah, if Koi wins against Navi, and they lose against Team Liquid, which I would say is pretty likely, you could see a 3-way tie that gets Koi into playoffs, but I'm not sure exactly how that works. So regardless, I would assume that they're going to make playoffs and be a team that goes out pretty low down in the like in the bracket, like be one of the like the 4th seed that just insta loses kind of thing. But overall, like again, they have players that are good. Like Aves is really good. I think Sugetsu's really good. I think Elite's been playing a little bit better than he was in stage one, but nothing amazing. And then Martine's okay. Sadok's been pretty disappointing overall as a caller, but also like this team hasn't been that good either. So regardless, an okay team in Carmine Core, but one that I don't think is on the level of this solid teams tier where I have most of the region. All right, so we'll start this solid teams tier out with Team Vitality, a team that's on that playoff line at the 1-3 spot in terms of record, and they could very easily make it in. They just need to win, and they need BBL to beat Foot. I think that's very realistic, especially with how BBL's been playing as of late. Like not like they did in the first two games. I think that's pretty realistic. We'll talk about BBL a little bit more later. But I think Vitality over Mates should be a pretty easy pick as well, unless Mates decide to get over their choking problems now. But Les, Durka had really good performances as they usually do. The rest of the team was okay, like kind of spotty here and there performances where like somebody will pop off one map, somebody else will pop off another map. But overall, like they're in an okay spot, I think, as a team. Obviously, it's not the ideal spot in terms of like standings, but I think in terms of how good the team is, I think this is about what we expected from Vitality, if not even a little bit better in terms of how they look. This ranking did feel a little bit low, but I just didn't really feel like I could objectively rank them higher than some of the other teams above them, so I kind of had them down here, especially with how inconsistent like the non-Durka and less players on this team are. I couldn't really justify it fully. But yeah, like I think they just need to work together a little bit, like close out maps a little bit easier. Like their icebox defense side was really bad. Uh, they were able to beat BBL on Lotus, which is pretty impressive, and then Bind just weren't able to close that map out. Levin was kind of frying them, and yeah, just kind of unfortunate for them. But I don't think that they're in a terrible spot. Then I have Giant X moving down one spot. They played Gentlemates this week. Yes, they did. Um, like, yeah, they're fine. I don't know. I don't really have too many takes about this team anymore. Like, I was high up on them heading into the split, but now I'm just kind of like, like they're good. But I don't think that they're like they don't have the upside that Vitality does to make champs. Where like if Vitality's other three are playing well and doing what they should be doing, like they're much better than Giants. But Giants, I think, are just a solid team that's going to give you a good performance every week, and they have some nice young talent that I think, like in terms of into the future, will be able to develop nicely together. With Ara, who is a little inconsistent but is very good. Westside, who had a really good game. Gerbino, who's been very good this split. Cloud, who's still like finding his consistency as an IGL, and then Flickless, who I think is just a pretty good support player overall on like this flash initiator stuff. Like I also don't love their read on the meta overall. Like I think it's kind of a little dated, but I think they're a good enough team to be consistent throughout a whole bracket and potentially make it to champs, but I would not favor them to do that. Then I have Foot, another team that I don't really favor to make champs. I think their upside in terms of like a whole tournament is a little bit lower because I think it's not their individuals that are inconsistent, which they are, to be fair. Like Crack specifically, I think Yedishe is a little inconsistent. CNED's been a little inconsistent on smokes, but he's trying to find his role a little bit more. Fallen's been really bad as an individual to split, and Zeus is just getting back into form a little bit more, even though he's still not to his stage one stuff, that he was like how well he was playing in stage one. So they're okay. They're just a little too inconsistent for my liking, and also they're not really like their wins aren't over the best of teams. Like they've beaten Gentlemates and Giants, so like let's get real, guys. Like they got destroyed by Heretics this week and destroyed by Vitality. So I think if you're going up against a good team like BBL, this is kind of their main test on whether or not they're able to make champs. Then I have Navi moving up 3 spots, just because I think I just kind of I was trying to correct stuff this week where like yeah, I like they were at the bottom of this tier last week. I think Foot and Giants and Vitality all slightly moved down. Maybe Vitality a little bit up because of BBL, because they played against BBL and BBL was good. Um, but yeah, I just think Navi like is the more stable option and also has more upside. Like it's not like Foot where they're all over the place all the time. Like their wins are against Apex and Carmine Core, and their losses are against Fnatic and Liquid. And they played Fnatic really close. They just had one bad week against Liquid, and I think the rest of their stage has actually been pretty good. Alexic is inconsistent, I will say that. And that's like the main issue with this team, as well as Angel's decision making at times. But Xiao, Hero, and Ruxic are all amazing and very consistent as well. So I think if Alexic could go on a form run during playoffs, Angel can stop throwing individually, I think this team can absolutely make it to champs. And then the other team I have in this tier is BBL. Just I think I don't even think they've leveled up too much these past 2 weeks. Like they played Heretics and Giants coming out on a bit of a heater to start stage one, and then they beat Gentlemates and Vitality. Like, if you told me that this was how their season went so far at the beginning of the split, I would fully believe you. I think they just need to cap it off with a win against Foot in this last stage of the last week of the stage, and I think that's definitely a positive stage for BBL. And they could probably, I mean, let's see, VCT EMEA. Wait, no, VCT champs. VCT championship points 2025. There we go. I finally figured out how to type. Um, they're in the fourth spot right now, just ahead of Vitality. If they win, Vitality lose, they're perfectly in a good spot for playoffs. Honestly, it might benefit them to throw their game so Vitality doesn't make it into playoffs and instead of them. Now, they would be a 4 seed in that at that point, have to make a full run to top 4 from there. So probably wouldn't benefit them, but also like it could. Like I honestly like other than that they would get banned for match fixing, genuinely would not blame them for it. Um so yeah, whatever you make of that, like yeah, BBL I think is a solid team. They could definitely make it the top 2 as well during playoffs. They have a decent floor and a pretty high ceiling with like players like Sociable, Levin, who's Levin's been finding more consistency this split and has been unbelievable. I think Profec's really good. I think Magnum's really solid and consistent. I think Yampi's attack side calling has been a little inconsistent this split, but it's been getting better overall. And I think his individual performances could definitely get better than they were in these past couple weeks. But I think if he's working on his calling more than the individual play, I think that's very, very much worth it. Now we have our top 3 teams, which, I mean, everybody knows that these are the top 3 teams even heading into this video. I have Heretics at number 3, though, which could be a little bit of a surprise to some people. Like, they're 4-0 this split. I know people are going to be like, oh, but they are 4-0. They're the best team in EMEA right now. I mean, Liquid also is 4-0. Heretics has had some bad games in there. Like, I think the Gentlemates game wasn't great. Now, Liquid's had the same thing, to be fair, which they're my next team. But I think the main thing with these teams is Heretics looked so much worse in an international stage at Toronto than Liquid did. And Liquid was playing with subs. And Liquid's roster has gotten better since that event as well. So, like, there's a lot of different things going on there. But I think these are 2 insane teams in the MEA and should be teams that are making it into champs. And then Fnatic I have at number 1 still, even though they got destroyed by Liquid this week. I'm going to need to see a little bit more from them in terms of bad stuff before I fully just give up on them. So, yeah, these will be my power rankings for this week. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below, and now we'll move on to the pick'ems. All right, so last week we went 4-2. With these results, I'll take it. I did take a bit of a punt on Vitality here, but I'm okay with getting these 2 games wrong. I mean, obviously, prefer to get them right, but can't get every game right. As for this week, I think there's some fairly easy games. Like obviously, Navi Koi, Fnatic over Apex. If Fnatic lose this game, I'll delete my channel. That's a joke because this game does not matter for either team, so that's a joke. Vitality over Gentlemates, pretty easy. And then I think Liquid over Carmine Core is also easy. But the other 2 games I think are pretty split overall. Like I think Giants could beat Heretics in this game, but overall I would maybe not slightly favor Heretics. I think that's disingenuous, but I think this is like a 70-30 game towards Heretics. one that I feel better about Giants in than maybe that 30%. But like definitely upset potential in this game. But I feel really, really solid about picking Heretics. Is kind of my thing. Then Foot BBL. I did say this earlier that this was a pretty easy or yes for BBL. It's kind of like a 65-35 game in my head, maybe a 60-40, where like if Foot show up and are that good Foot team that we've seen a few times this split, I think they could definitely win this game. But also, even if they do that, I think BBL is still overall the better team, and I would favor them in that game. So that's where you get like the 65-35 rather than like the 50-50 that it would be. Maybe 55 towards Foot if Foot show up and are good. For like they do it every other week. I mean, even then week 1 wasn't good from them. Like week 1 and 2 were really bad. Then against Giants were good, but other than that, they haven't been that good. So I would not favor them to show up and be good, but it is possible that they are good and end up beating BBL. But these are my pick'ems. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.